Welcome to How to Unpicky Your Picky Eater. Before we jump into today's episode, I have some exciting news for all of the parents out there who really find it challenging to make sure that your kids are actually getting all of the nutrients they need from the very limited diet that they currently have. Well, I'm thrilled to announce that I've developed a new program specifically tailored to parents of picky eaters, ARFID eaters, pediatric feeding disorders, any parents who really just want to get more nutrients into their kiddos. Unlike traditional approaches that focus on introducing new and different foods, right, which take time and patience, and of course, it's something that we do. But this program specifically focuses on maximizing the nutritional value of the foods your child is already eating, right? So this is going to decrease some battles, decreases your stress level because you're not going to feel like, oh, they have to eat it because otherwise they haven't eaten anything good today. And it allows your kids to actually focus on learning and enjoying food that they're learning about without the pressure. So we understand every day and every meal counts when it comes to your child's health. That's why we're dedicated to helping you make the most of the foods that they're currently eating, ensuring that they receive vital vitamins, minerals, and nutrients without delay. So I am hosting a free parent webinar premiering on Saturday, June 1st, 2024. During this webinar, you're going to gain valuable insights and practical strategies to transform your mealtime struggles, and it'll introduce you to our new program. Plus, attendees who stay on until the end will receive a free gift as a token of my appreciation for you joining us. So don't let another day go by without taking action to support your child's nutritional needs. Right? It affects their behavior, their sleep, how they learn, their moods. It's so super important. So register now by clicking the link below or finding details in the show notes. So let's make every meal count together. Hi, and welcome to another episode. I'm so excited to be here to help. My name is Christine, and today we are talking about how diverse is your child's current diet. And you might know the answer to this, or you might kind of not even really be sure. So by the end of this episode, you are going to have a really clear idea of how diverse it should be and where your child stands, right? So first, why does it matter that you have different foods? And maybe this is obvious to you, but I bet there's a caveat here that you didn't realize, right? So just a basic, of course, eating lots of different foods is good for our body, right? But I want to make an analogy here of like thinking about how when you look at a painting, right? And there's a painting with it's like just browns and it's just different types of browns, right? When you see that versus next to a painting that has, lots of different colors and it's vibrant, what are almost like the two feelings that you would get from looking at both of those paintings, right? So each color of a painter's palette is going to represent a different food. Like, each food has its own unique nutrients and minerals. And just like when a painting is missing colors or limits what the artist can create, lacking certain foods in our diet can prevent our bodies from functioning optimally. So when we consume food from a wide range of foods, that means we are getting a whole spectrum of different nutrients, vitamins, and minerals, each with its own important roles. So, for example, red foods like tomatoes and strawberries, they are rich with antioxidants. Dark leafy greens get vitamins, minerals to our bodies. Whole grains give you some fiber that aids with digestion, and lean proteins are essential for muscle repair and growth. So, without the variety, just like a painting would look very flat and uninspired without a full range of colors, our health can also suffer with deficiencies and imbalances that affect everything from energy to hormones to immune function, right? So, if you have no idea where your child stands currently, I actually have a very quick quiz that I created. It's on the registration page for our Make Every meal count free webinar. So on that webinar page, if you scroll down, there is a free variety quiz. So it's just a great tool for you to assess your child's current diversity of diet, right? So it is available. I will put the link in the show notes or below this video so that you can access that. But it is free to you, and I highly encourage you to try it, because even if it does say that, like, oh, you have a good variety of food, there's always ways to improve it, but you might not be realizing how many foods there are missing, right? So if this is you and you're struggling with this, my course is an excellent place to start, because you get a report about exactly which vitamins and minerals are missing from their diet and exactly what you can do to get those into their diet within their current level of foods that they're like eating today. Right. So when they're only eating 5 foods, it's not like, okay, well, I want you to add these other 5 foods. It's like, well, no, they're not going to just do that. Like, that takes time. So this program is all about taking the foods that they're currently eating and packing those with as many vitamins, minerals, nutrients as we can. And I explain exactly how, in super simple terms, that's easy for parents, that works for kids who are super picky. So that doesn't change how the food looks, doesn't change how it tastes, right? So I give lots of awesome strategies and advice for this exact topic. So if this sounds like you, be sure to check out these links. But I want to talk about now the benefits of a diverse diet that you might not have even realized, right? So the immune system, and it really, honestly, there's a bunch of different benefits, but I'm going to focus on your gut and your immune system, which basically work hand in hand. Like, you can't have one without the other, right? So your gut actually needs a lot of different foods to make it really run optimally and functionally. Every single day, your gut, there's bacteria that live in your gut, but they're good bacteria. They're necessary bacteria, and they literally make your whole body function. And without that gut bacteria, or sometimes they're called gut flora, your body really, it's almost like there's no oil in your engine. Like, things are just not, like, the car is like breaking down type of a thing, right? So you need lots of different bacteria to make everything work smoothly. So the diversity within the different foods actually gives that bacteria that life, right? So specifically to your immune system, like vitamins A and C found in fruits and vegetables like carrots, oranges, bell peppers, right? They help your immune defense system fight off infections and common colds, COVID, things like that. Zinc, very important, which is in meats and nuts, is great for wound healing, cell division, fighting infections. Things like selenium from seafood and Brazil nuts protects against infection and stress on cells. So having a diverse diet also means that your immune system is functioning properly, and it can protect it from things like, cancers and just common colds, right? It doesn't even have to be something so serious. But how you respond to incoming, environmental viruses and stimuli, it all has to do with, does your body have the tools to fight things off, right? Now, the gut health, right? So you need that, like I said, all of the different foods and variety help create different bacteria types and strains and amounts. There's the fibers that are in the food, the probiotics, the prebiotics, that all helps to break food down. And the body has to break food down and then be able to absorb it, right? So you can break food down, but if your body isn't able to absorb it, it's just going to go right back out into the poop and the pee, right? It just goes in one way, out the other. and the body gets no benefit from it, right? So that's not helpful. We don't want that. We need it to be absorbed. And that the bacteria in your gut help the body to properly absorb and take in, like a sponge, those nutrients that it needs to function, right? So, it's not just about um, you know, uh helping you fight an infection. It's about taking them in, because even if let's just say you give your child a supplement, right? But if your body is having trouble absorbing that supplement, it's going to go right through them. And, you're not going to see a ton of benefits. So sometimes I hear parents say, oh, they get a multivitamin, or, oh, we've tried vitamins and they didn't work, or like nothing changed or whatever. And sometimes it's not the right dose. It's such a low amount that you're not going to see any change. And sometimes it's because your body didn't even absorb that vitamin because it didn't have the proper gut diversity to help sponge and pull those in, right? So it'll also, right, we're talking about long-term health. It's for your well-being. It's not just, oh, I don't want you to get sick next week. It's, I don't want you to, develop autoimmune disorders and cancer in the future, right? There's long-term benefits to having good gut health, right? And just your overall well-being, honestly, right? So it contributes overall to your mood stability, your cognitive function, your energy levels. You might think, oh, my kid has plenty of energy, not a problem, right? But their moods might be a little unstable, or they might have trouble focusing and attending in school, right? So, making sure that, they have, things like omega-3 fatty acids, which are in like fish, right? If your child doesn't have any foods or supplements in their diet that give them omega-3, right? That's a really important one for brain development, mood, cognitive performance, language and speech. Right. I'll give you a quick story. If you haven't heard it before, is my son, obviously I'm a speech pathologist, and my son was a very late talker. And I was right. I mean, you can imagine, right? If that's like my job, that I was right on it. And at 15 months, that's like the end of the window, right? And I was like, okay, boys are a little sometimes later than girls to talk. Okay, but 15 months, I was like, nope. All right, I'm gonna hire a speech therapist. Maybe it's me, maybe it's, I'm mom and I can't do it the way an outsider would, right? I had that moment. Um, one of the best speech therapists on my team, I had to come and start to work with him, and oh, he gave her such a hard time. He fought it, he hated it. Then he got early intervention. I was like, okay, he's at 18 months. Now he's 100% going to qualify. He qualified for speech, OT, and special ed. Hated it. I mean, for months, we struggled. I started giving him high dose fish oil because I think I had done like a little bit here and there. But he wasn't really, he ate a little bit of salmon, I think, at the time, but it wasn't, I don't know. Anyway, high dose fish oil. I've talked about this before. And I am not joking that, and he had, I'm not going to lie, he probably had maybe like one or two words. And he was okay. So it was right before his second birthday. So he was like 23 months old, and he had maybe like 3 or 4 words, very basic ones, like maybe like go or up or something like that. And then within a week of taking this, he said mama for the first time. And by the end of the first month, he had about 30 words. And like I said, he had months of speech therapy. Then he had, so by the time he had that, he had already had 7 months of intensive speech therapy. Like I'm talking 3 to 4 times a week, and living with a speech pathologist, mind you. And then probably he started in October EI, so he had 3 or 4 months of OT and special ed. And really, we didn't see any changes until he took the fish oil, because it is so key for your brain needs that fat. Remember, I said in the last episode about how carbohydrates, fats, and proteins are like the big players. If they're the stars of the movie, right? His brain was clearly not getting any or enough of that. And it clearly showed in his very late talking, very unstable moods. You might not notice his energy level. He seemed to have boundless energy, but cognitive was suffering, mood was suffering, and everything did start to mellow out. But it all started, that catalyst was that fish oil. And I will forever be grateful for that nutrient changing his life forever. So I know how valuable nutrients can be in life-changing stuff for our kids. So, if your kids are struggling in anything, I always look at food and nutrition first, because if they're struggling with something, all right, there must be, our body is, it's like a little canary in the coal mine. It's our body saying, hey, I need help with this. Like, give me more of this nutrient or this, right? When your body has what it needs, and it's not just that, right? We can have a whole other conversation about detoxing, removing what is blocking it or what it doesn't need, right? But when your body gets the support that it needs to function, basically, um, things really do start to go into place a lot more. And I know how powerful that is. So I really am so excited for this program. I'm so excited for our parents and our kids that are going to be able to get these nutrients into their diet, because I know from working with hundreds of families at this point with picky eating that it takes time. Like, you are not going to turn around a child, even with ARFID, in 2 days, in 2 weeks, in 2 months. Like, that's just not going to happen. And the longer you've gone, right, with this problem, the longer it's gone, the longer it's going to take for them to come back around to food, and even if they start trying foods, to incorporate that food in with enough of it to get all of these vitamins, right? So, it's really important that we don't waste this precious time that we have, waiting for them to get these foods into their diet, because I know it takes time. And, I think getting the foods in actually takes the pressure off of some of these meals, where then you can focus on using these strategies that I give you without that pressure of, oh, but I really wanted to eat that because he hasn't had any fruits in like 3 days, right? So you're like really hoping. So this will help you release some of that resistance around them needing to eat or do certain things around food, and will allow you and your child to just enjoy the process of learning, and enjoying the new foods that they're trying, because we want them to like it, right? But when we have that pressure around them of like, oh, I really want them to like it, it really does always backfire, right? And we talk about that so much when we talk about mindset and all the other things that I teach, right? So, of course, I have that more involved program, Picky Plate to Clean Slate, that takes parents on that journey. But a lot of the times in the interim, I was noticing a lot of parents just almost like waiting for them to get to that point of liking new foods. And then you have all of this big chunk of time in the middle that was sort of, I don't want to say wasted, but like nutrient wise, their bodies missed out on that opportunity to get those vital vitamins and nutrients. So if this is you, make sure you click on the links below and get started today, and don't delay in, learning these strategies, that I have laid out in a nice, easy way to understand it. And in fact, the program comes with a nutrient dense recipe guide, which will be available for sale separately on Amazon as well. But it comes with the course. So you get like the book, and then you get the recipe book as well, and all these awesome strategies on how to get the foods in. So hopefully I will see you on the inside of that webinar. And we will see you next week for another episode of How to Unpick Your Picky Eater. So have a great week.
Thank you for listening to How to Unpicky Your Picky Eater. To learn more about achieving your child's feeding goals, check out Christine's website at foodologyfeeding.com. And be sure to tune in next time to How to Unpicky Your Picky Eater.